It's coming if it's not here already. Summer, peak of perfection in the life cycle of the year. Everyone has a summer song, and I mean everyone. Vivaldi had a summer song. The music there speaks for itself, but Gershwin thought it was the time when living is easy. The days of soda and pretzels and beer, according to Nat King Cole via Hans Karst. The Lovin' Spoonful wished the summer days could be like the nights. For Seals and Croft, the summer breeze made them feel fine. The 80s had way too many, and we'll get into those. And summer jams. And hopefully we'll get into your summer songs, the ones that mean the most to you. But after all, Megan Thee Stallion said it best. Real ass bitch, know she got it lit. Hot girl summer, so you know she got it lit. All right, welcome to Noise Junkies. I'm your co-host, Father Malone, and joining me in sonic synchronicity all the way from the Sunshine Cab Company, Night Mr. Walters, Mr. HP.
Hello, Mr. Father Malone. How are you? Hello, Heather. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, that's our other co-host, the best of us, really, joining us via satellite powered by bird fuel. It's Mondo Heather's Heather Drain.
Bird gas is the best gas.
Bird gas.
Yes, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. I Noise Junkies recording is always a highlight of my week.
Now, as I mentioned, we are doing summer tunes. It's our summer-themed episode, but before we get to that, the question must be asked. What are you listening to, Heather?
Oh my goodness, everything. I'll go through like big periods where I just listen to a bunch of different songs. It's like I got total mixtape brain, and there's two songs in particular there that I've been rotating a lot. And the first one's like a new discovery for me. And it's this song called Johnny Remember Me by John Layton. This was a #1 hit in the UK back in 1961. And on the surface, it's a nice haunting song about a man missing a love, but it's got that Joe Meek production. And if anybody listening, if you don't know who Joe Meek is, look him up. This guy was one of the most innovative producers, and so much of Joe Meek's stuff sound like it's from an other world. There's a spectralness to this song. It's so beautiful, and just I love it.
Well, it's hard to believe, I know, but I hear her singing in the sign of the wind blowing in the treetops way above me.
Also, John Layton was best known as an actor, though. He was in Von Ryan's Express and The Great Escape.
Yeah, it sounded familiar, that name. My God.
Yeah, I know, dude's legit. And of course, going from 1960s sad, melancholy, ethereal pop, I had to go to Belgium goth music from the late 80s, which from 1989 to be specific, with Posy Noir and their song Pity for the Self, which is a great song about trying to battle depression, but it's got a great dance beat.
For the self, not self.
Yeah, that's Petit for the Self. And some great lyrics and wordplay. In particular, there's a line that says, "It always contains that sneaky snake-like small tears on a slumbering ache." I love that. Like, it's
alliteration
beautiful.
Is king.
Oh, it's so good. And on top of that, the song ends with a sample from Andrei Zulawski's film Possession.
Oh, wow.
And
great flick.
Oh my God, I love Zulawski. Live for Zulawski. Possession's brilliant, like everything the man did. And think about it, only a goth band from Belgium that could incorporate a sample from Possession. So just seamless. It's just it's a song, once I listen to it, I have to listen to it like 20 more times in a row. So good. But yeah, that's just a little taste into what I've been listening to. What about you, HP? What have you been digging?
So actually what I'm listening to is a bit of a follow along to the previous episode where we were talking about genres, and one of the acts that I brought up, and I think Father Malone had something to say as well, is DJ Shadow. And the thing that I've been listening to this week, the album I'm listening to, is an album called Come to the Party by a guy named Dennis Olivieri. This was from 1968. It was reissued this year as part of, I think, Record Store Day in May. It's sort of a concept album in the best sort of late 60s tradition. It's divided up into a before side and an after side. I'm not really sure what maybe it's the part before the party and after the party. Not sure. I haven't really figured that out. But the reason for this particular album, the tie-in with DJ Shadow, the song off this album, which is called I Cry in the Morning.
I'll tell you why I cry early in the morning. Oh, man, you're turning this earth gray.
It's one of the main samples used in the DJ Shadow song 6 Days, which was off of 2002's The Private Press. It's probably my favorite song off that album. And I always thought that that particular song was just that one bit of the sample fest that usually goes into a Shadow song. But to my surprise, I Cry in the Morning is basically the actual song is kind of what comprises the main chunk of this sample.
You hear a whistling overhead. Are you alive or are you dead? It's only Thursday. You feel the shaking of the ground. A million candles burn around. Is it your birthday?
So I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was all DJ Shadow's alchemy, but it turns out that this guy, Dennis Olivieri, this song is just so good. I guess it's part of DJ Shadow's genius is he's able to find these obscure tracks and make them his own. And it's just wonderfully languid and melancholy, hypnotic in an interesting way. The rest of the album is actually very good as well. Like I said, I'm still trying to parse it and getting into some of the weird textures and sort of psychedelic bits. But very pleasantly surprised. Great album. You should definitely check it out.
Well, I finally picked up the latest album by Miss Olivia Jean, and I have been listening to it non-stop. This is her third studio album, her third solo album, after fronting the Black Bells off of... If anyone knows her mainly, they probably know her. She's married to Jack White, who produced her first band, the Black Bells, which is this sort of goth garage band, and she was the lead in that, and she wrote all the songs.
I tried to keep it alive, but still it quickly died. Was that coincidence, vibration, or premonition? Right before my eyes, I'm lonely, and I'm knocking on the wrong door, bang. And I'm knocking on the wrong, and I'm lonely, and I'm knocking on the wrong door, bang.
And then she put out an album that was very close to the Black Bells.
Grab her wrist and twist and shout, 'cause you can not help but doubt. She cries this time, I'm fine this time, I'm just trying to hide.
And then her second album was self-produced, and she went in a lot of different directions and became a lot poppier.
Why did I surrender? When did I become prey? Now I am too weak to stay. Why did I give up? I'm a prisoner to fate.
And this new album is the perfect fusion of her Black Bells era and the era immediately following it. It is goddamn good. And she can play every goddamn instrument on the album and usually does. And I just adore her. I used to tour a lot in my previous job, and it would seem that every time I would go to a city, she had either just played there or was going to play the night after I left. I've been chasing Olivia Jean this entire time. I'm going to see her live one day. But until then, go check out Raving Ghost. It is so, the song Spider, particularly. Oh, also on every one of her albums, she puts on a cover song. And so on the last album, she did John Pei Chanho, which was a killer version of that. In this one, she did Orinoco Flow. Holy God.
Let me sail, let me crash upon your shore. Let me reach, let me be far beyond the yellow sea.
You will never listen to the song again the same way. It's so fun.
Sail away, sail away, sail away.
But like really fast with an awesome guitar. Listen, it's summertime. We're talking summertime, gang. We're talking summertime games. When do you play?
Ooh.
When do you play games most? Summertime, of course. This is a game, and we're playing it at summertime. But this is actually Heather's game, right, Heather?
It is, and I actually tailored this one for this episode, though.
Oh.
Because anybody listening, we originally were going to do a little word association game for the last episode, but we got so into the topic that we ran out of time, which honestly, awesome problem to have. But Father Malone, like myself, we're game people. We like games. It's fun. But I tailored this one to have a summery theme. To quote the computer from War Games, would you like to play a game, fellas?
What's the
Let's do it.
difference?
Yeah. Aw.
The only winning move is not to play. Let's hope that's not the case here.
And this is simple. It's a simple word association. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about whatever comes to your minds.
Okay.
Just spit it out. So, starting with Eric von Zipper.
Teeth.
Sorry, say that again. I missed what you said.
Eric von Zipper.
Unknown.
Oh my God. HP, for Christmas, we're getting you some beach party movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
I love it. He was just in an episode of Night Gallery I watched recently.
Oh my God, I've seen that episode because
Yeah,
I remember I saw it. I was like, it's Harvey fucking Lembeck.
He's good in it.
Oh, he's so good. Okay, number 2, coconut shrimp.
Forrest Gump.
Margaritaville?
Yes! Oh my God, that's actually the right answer. I was
Okay.
thinking Jimmy Buffett, but Father Malone's also not wrong.
Well, that's just because that's our version of the appetizer that best suits Forrest Gump is coconut shrimp, right? Yeah, that was your call.
It's true. Okay, this is a little bit of a deep cut, but I'm a deep cut girl. Chris Bell.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's got connections to Big Star, very underrated power pop musician who died young in the 70s. His song I Am the Cosmos is the perfect, most depressing summery song ever because I'm a happy little rain cloud.
The answer you just gave is now what I'm associating with Chris Bell.
Okay, cool beans. You're like, random name Heather brought up in a word association game. Okay, burnt skin.
Delicious.
Barbecue.
Okay, I like both. I was going to go with Hulk Hogan, but that works too.
I'm watching I'm watching the show Yellow Jackets, and it's all about cannibals. So burning skin just equals delicious to me right now.
Yeah, well, they call humans long pigs.
Long pig, delicious. Yeah.
And people say anybody that's tasted human flesh goes mad because it's so good. Like it's the best tasting meat. That makes me sound creepy. I'm a vegetarian for the record.
Wow.
Well, that's a relief.
Unless there's some people made of tofu, then you're in danger.
I know
Okay,
people who would eat people, by the way, guys.
People.
I know people who would
People who
definitely
eat
Oh,
who
the
are-
luckiest
who are
people
dying.
in the world.
Okay, hot pants.
James Brown.
Ooh, look at that. Father Malone, come on.
Elkie
do it.
Summer.
Ooh, that's good too. That's acceptable. Also looking for Dagmar's Hot Pants, which is an exploitation movie from the early 70s. Ring Pops.
Jessica, my wife, my late
Aw.
wife. I'm sorry. I proposed with a ring pop. That's the only thing I think.
Are you serious? That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love Ring Pops too.
Yeah.
They're
It was
delicious.
a blueberry.
Ooh. I like cherry, but blueberry's good too. Okay, Gene Simmons doll.
Migo.
I just think what a dick.
Both are acceptable. Both are correct answers. We were also taking the movie Love Doll Superstar, where one of the Red Cross brothers gets haunted by a flying Gene Simmons doll.
Oh man, and now I have to see that. I love Red Cross.
Oh my God, I'm a huge Red Cross fan. Oh my God. Okay, ukulele.
Tiny Tim.
Precious.
That's both. Those are both.
Tiny
those are both
Bubbles.
good. I
All right.
also,
Yep.
when you said
Not
precious,
a big ukulele fan over here.
you made me think of the movie Precious.
No, it's far too depressing.
I was like, Jesus, I don't think I saw that cut. Okay, flavor crystals.
Weed.
This is 2 word. Crystal Light.
Okay, both. Yeah, I would rather have the weed. Crystal Light's got that acidic. My family drank a lot of it when I was a kid.
Wasn't it horrible?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I believe in me.
which is also a Gene Simmons lyric. It all goes back. Okay. 70s swingers.
Wow, sorry, can I just break in for one moment?
Yeah.
That was a Music from the Elder reference right there. That is
Fuck
stellar.
yes, it was. Thank you.
All right, I had to point
I'm
that
so
out.
glad
Thank
you
you.
got that. Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
love
so
that
cool.
album.
No, it's so underrated. It really, really is an underrated Kiss album.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a future episode.
Oh my
yeah.
god. Especially because it's got a Lou Reed connection. Okay, 70s swingers.
I just think of unfortunately, right now, all I'm thinking about is John Leguizamo.
I would say Key Party.
Yes, I almost put Key Parties. John Leguizamo. Okay.
Yeah, he was in the movie Summer of Sam.
I hate that fucking
Oh,
movie.
yeah, that's
Oh,
a
I
good
hate
one.
that
That's a good
movie.
reference.
And then they swing at one point, so think of that.
Yeah.
It's an insult to swingers. I was looking for was it Plato's Retreat?
Yeah. Well, which is what that scene is based on in the movie.
No, there's so many other movies that reference Plato's Retreat that are better.
I'm
Like
not saying
like
there
the
are.
movie.
I'm
The
just,
movie Plato's Retreat. The movie.
oh
It's called
yeah, which I've
Plato's
seen.
Retreat,
Yeah,
colon the movie. Got a colon in it. Okay, anyways. Yuppie ponytail.
Bronson Pinchot.
Muffy. I don't know.
Yeah, both are acceptable. I was looking for Don Henley. Because you remember
Oh,
that
good
greasy,
call.
Boys of Summer. Yeah,
disgusting,
the video.
disgusting ass ponytail he had. Oh, he's the worst. I bet he smells like a singles bar. It's all cigarette smoke, pink squirrels.
I bet he smells like leather.
Oh no, leather kind of can smell good though.
Yeah, I know, but there's got to be some good to him.
No, there's no good to him. There's none. He probably smells like BO, like an axe.
Pretty good
bite. I don't know.
drummer. He was a good drummer.
Whatever, like a broken clock's like right once in a while.
He's got a sweet and honeyed voice.
Now he doesn't. Ew, no, his voice makes me angry because I'm like, ew, why am I listening to Don Henley?
All right, now it's time for the main event, or one of them, part 1 of 2. We're talking about favorite summer songs, least favorite summer songs. Now, in this case, I mentioned there are 1 gazillion summer songs. Like, I had no idea the Pandora's box I opened by picking this topic. And then there's something like 300 songs just with summer in the title, never mind other songs completely about summer. We're not even talking about summer jams songs that became popular during summer. Remember when every car window was open and all you could hear was All About That Bass? Oh, Jesus Christ, what a nightmare that was. Anyway, that's a summer jam. But we are going to start with favorite song about summer. And these are songs about summer, probably summer in the title, doesn't necessarily have to be, but it's definitely a song about the season. We're going to start with you, Mr. HP.
For every one of these songs I picked, there's probably 8 or 9 that could have easily made the cut. This was very, very challenging to pick up a song, just one song. So my favorite song about summer is called Summer's Cauldron by XTC. It's off of 86's seminal Skylocking. For most folks know it because it's the one with Dear God. This album was famously produced by Todd Rundgren. In a desperate bid to break through to the US markets, he was picked to produce the record. And it was a very contentious recording. He and Andy Partridge did not get along.
To be fair, does anyone get along with Andy Partridge, or rather, does Andy Partridge get along with anyone?
He was absolutely. Todd Rundgren was 100. I mean, I make no bones about the fact that I love Todd Rundgren. He's one of my favorites, and he was absolutely the right person to produce this because he was able to make the album had a very pastoral sound, which was something lacking in XTC's albums up to that point. Now, the song in particular that we're talking about, Summer's Cauldron, was written by Andy Partridge, and it kicks off with this wonderful sound of this buzzing of insects chirping and this sort of hum. Really puts you in the mind of a real hazy, hot summer day where you hear the insects kind of buzzing in the background, maybe the hissing of summer lawns, as it were. I was actually surprised later to find out that the song isn't actually about summer. It's actually about the moments before childbirth, being comfortable in the womb and not wanting the moment to end. But you can apply that same reasoning to summertime. I mean, I think we all have fond memories of summers past and future, perhaps. Maybe you have memories to come, that these summer days they seem to stretch on forever when you're a kid, especially on vacation from school. And nothing puts me in the mindset of those, that sort of feel of the summer. There's just so much left to summer. I'm just having a great time. Than Summer's Cauldron by XTC.
When Miss Moon lays down and the sun stands up, me I'm found floating round and round like a bug in brandy in this big one's cup, drowning here in summer's cold.
Right on. Excellent choice.
That's such a cool
surprising.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And Todd Rundgren is the man, just for the record.
God is God.
Yeah.
So you guys talk about him a lot. I know nothing about Todd Rundgren at all.
We can school you, my child.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to learn, but we'll save that for future episodes.
Heather,
Yes.
I know you have a
Yes.
favorite summer song.
You know, I have a ton. I really had to whittle this down. Like I'm an old Southern man on a front porch with a branch, whittling that stick. And so my number one pick is oddly enough called Whittling the Stick. No, I'm joking.
Nice.
Yeah, it's called, I picked The Summer Sun by Chris Stamey, which came out originally in 1977. Chris Stamey, I tend to favor, I've noticed this about myself, like power pop, 70s power pop in the summertime really just seems so copacetic for me. This song in particular, it's literally pretty much just him and Alex Chilton. Of course, Alex Chilton, who was in just what is it, the Box Tops, like he's done for that. But Alex Chilton as a solo artist is a brilliant producer, brilliant songwriter, brilliant. The Replacements literally wrote a song called Alex Chilton about Alex Chilton, so which Alex Chilton I think said it was stupid. But I love Alex Chilton. I love that song though, but we're not talking about The Replacements. This Chris Stamey song it's lovely, but it's got this sort of slight melancholy to it.
I turn out the light and I lie awake at night thinking that it's got to be, that's the way it is. Love is only love, but it's the least we think the most of. Summer always cold in the summer sun.
And just for me, like the summertime is always kind of like a depressing season for me. I mean, even as a kid, I mean, I liked not being in school because, you know, I was kind of bullied. This is kind of, not to get sad. I mean, I turned out all right, but for the most part, but there's always there's a weird just lull about the summer, and the summer sun just feels like there's this great repetition line of some are always cold in the summer sun. And I don't know. I think it's really beautiful. I think it's kind of sad. I just find it very captivating. Also, a little trivia, Chris Stamey went on to be a pretty successful producer and worked with Pylon, La Tigra, and many more bands. And he was also a member of the DBs, which talked about underrated power pop. The DBs were a great group. And so, yeah, that's my pick, The Summer Sun by Chris Stamey.
Excellent choices. Both mine's better.
Right.
I too had a really difficult time whittling these down. I also came up with Whittling These Down as my number one pick for
Great minds.
Popular song.
Yeah, it's kind of undeniable. No, mine is classic 1958's Summertime Blues by Mr. Eddie Cochran, co-written by his manager Jerry Capehart. Like on a pure sonic level, it's as rambunctious and ornery as any great rock and roll song could be. Also, this is a rock and roll song. It's no longer country. It's no longer rhythm and blues. It's no longer rockabilly. This is a 100% rock and roll song as far as I'm concerned, and a very teenage rock and roll song. It's told from a teenage perspective. It's all the thing that's pissing him off during his summer vacation that he has to attend to. He has to get a job in order to pay for a date for his girl, and he can't get his car because it's just an endless list of problems for the young man. But that's not why I continue to love the song, because as teenage as an outlook as it might be, every obstacle the narrator's coming up against, he's going to be facing the rest of his life. As much as a teenage song as this is, it's a real working class song, a working class anthem. Meanwhile, it is as propulsive and as exhilarating and as demonstrative of what summer ought to be, just musically. It's just such a great tune. And Eddie Cochran's delivery is so fucking fantastic.
I'm a gonna raise a fuss, I'm a gonna raise a holler about a working all summer just to try to earn a dollar. Every time I call my baby, try to get a date, my boss says, no die, son, you gotta work late. Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do, but there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
Now, to say that the song has been covered a few times is an insult to understatements. There have been several dynamic versions. There have been, look, okay, The Who covered it twice, basically. They covered it off of their album, and they had a live version. I thought they were both tepid and not really all that interesting. Later, I think Joan Jett has got a real punky take to it, and that's really fun. T-Rex had a version in 1970, which I was unaware of before I started listening to these tracks. And look, man, I love Bolan as much as the next guy, but I was wildly disappointed from him banging on a guitar that sounded like it hadn't been tuned in 3 days and a bongo as his version of Summertime Blues. It was very disappointing for me.
Well, I tried to call my baby, tried to get a date. I said, no, that's good, you gotta work late.
If you want to hear like the noisiest, most excellent version of it, though, go listen to Blue Cheer's version from 1968, the San Francisco psychedelic band.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God. They allow feedback to replace lyrics in portions. It's wonderful. Alan Jackson had a country version that was very popular, I guess.
Well, I didn't go to work, told the boss I was sick. Now you can't use a car cause you didn't work a lick. Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do, cause there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
You want to hear a really deconstructed version of it? Deconstructed, the Flying Lizards? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, their cover, I think it was 78. I think their cover of it came out really fantastic.
Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do, but there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
It musically just sounds like summer to me, and when you dive into it, I think it's an interesting tune. And poor Eddie Cochran, he was haunted by the deaths of his friends Richie Valens and Buddy Holly on that plane, and then one day driving to a plane, his car got into an accident and he was thrown from it and he was killed, which he had a premonition that he would die by plane, and it almost happened. Anyway, that's the way summer ends sometimes, folks, and that was my favorite summer song.
On that happy note, it's iconic, that particular song. I will agree to disagree about the Who's version of Live at Leeds of Summertime Blues. I love their version. I think obviously the Eddie Cochran version is definitive. How could it not be? But that's my favorite period of the Who, right around Live at Leeds, Who's Next, all of that. So yeah,
I think Live at Leeds is a massive improvement over the studio version.
Oh yeah, no. If I'm going to listen to a cover of Summertime Blues, it's going to be the Live at Leeds version.
Yeah,
no question. Yeah, the studio version is, I agree, it's just tepid.
There, yeah.
Used to describe it, but I mean, I love the whole album Live at Leeds. I think it's fantastic, and I love it's a little more spare, I think, because it's just the 4-piece, but it's fantastic. But the song itself is, how could somebody not choose that? It's perfect.
I think if anyone but Eddie Cochran if I were to choose a singer, it would be Roger Daltrey for the vocals on it. But there's something so spare and mean and angry and fun about the original instrumentation there, which I think Eddie Cochran played at least 2 of those instruments himself. So anyway, we just got to everyone's favorite part of the show, our least favorite song about summer. We're going to start with the well-groomed and flavorless HP.
So this is actually the part that I was looking more forward to because it's fun to bag on these songs. This one I could not resist. My least favorite summer song is "Summer Nights" by Van Halen. It's off of their sort of reintroduction to the world after David Lee Roth left. It's off of 5150. Now, full disclosure, if it's not already obvious, I'm fully on the Roth side of the Roth versus Hagar debate. I think whatever edge they had as a band was completely lost when they picked up Sammy Hagar as their new lead singer and then never got it back. I have to admit, though, like, my initial thought on this, I thought this was the song. I don't know if you guys ever have seen any live footage of Van Halen around this time, around 86, 87. I thought this was the song where when they perform it live, Eddie and Sammy and Michael Anthony kind of do this bro strut across the stage as they're singing the song. I was wrong about that. That is best of both worlds. But anyway, the live footage of this song is equally cringy. It's just awful. It's just Sammy is like grabbing them and smiling, and they're palling around on stage having a great old time. But the reason why this is my least favorite summer song, that's only part of it, is the lyrics are just awful.
Next year I'll head out for the coast. What do you say, fellas? That might just call for a toast. Now what do you say?
To me, the song, hearing this song, conjures up images of shirtless dude bros in Oakley's high-fiving at the Dairy Queen parking lot. Blasting this, it just, I get chills just thinking of that image. Sample lyrics from the song. I get a line, you got that pole, I'll meet you down at the old fishing hole. Them girls are biting good tonight. Yeah. So this represents everything. Like I said, this is a dude bro song. This is like guys who are
they're the ones who took "Fight for Your Right to Party" seriously.
Literally, exactly. And just an awful song. Still gives me chills when I hear it. I love Van Halen. I love Roth with Van Halen. Not so much the Hagar stuff, in case it wasn't obvious.
But that's what dreams are made of.
Gross. No.
It's all Hagar. I with the exception of maybe the heavy metal song off of the heavy metal soundtrack, of course, I just can't stomach anything that the Hagar puts out there. The tequila, terrible.
He is coconut. The coconut shrimp has a lot of properties that you can spread across shit. He is also coconut shrimp. And I do like the first Montrose album, but that's about as far as
That's fair. I think it took him a while to cultivate. It's like a Jimmy Buffett-esque sort of identity he created with like the tequila, and now he has like
Cabo Wabo, everybody.
Cabo Wabo. Mas tequila. It's terrible. And actually, in fact, in researching this, I found some footage live from like 2019, 2020. You know, that motherfucker's still doing that stupid strut across the stage to Best of Both Worlds. They're pushing 70.
No, I mean, it's not, I know some people would say Roth versus Hagar is a debate. It's only a debate if one party likes losing, and that party is the Hagar party.
You know what? David Lee Roth seems like a goddamn nightmare of a human being. And I imagine being in the same room with him, just listening to him talking about himself all day long would drive you insane. But I would rather do that for like a full tour than do one night with Sammy Hagar.
Just awful.
David Lee Roth's a fascinating human being. I'm just saying.
He really is. I think for years, he was like a volunteer EMT in New York. So can you imagine, like, you have an accident and you're laid up, you're on the side of the road waiting and the EMT shows up and it's Diamond Dave and he's hey!
I'm dead and I've assumed into heaven and this rockable angel is hovering over me. I would not be the woman I am today without David Lee Roth. And that sounds like I lost my virginity to him. I didn't. But when I was a little girl, one of my very first role models, my heroes, was David Lee Roth. And thanks to Panama and, of course, the solo work, very influential I love Diamond Dave. And yeah, those fucking Hagar lyrics. I literally, like, when you eat something and your stomach's like immediately like, nope, like it's rejecting it. It gurgles a little bit. I just felt that.
I'm
Yeah,
scared. Am I gonna
it's
die?
awful.
Not while I'm on the case, baby.
Wow!
Those
Yes. Even when he like forgets the words, he's got so much style. Like that Us Festival performance when they're doing Romeo's Delight, and he goes, "All right," and he goes, "I forgot the fucking words," and he's got like the biggest grin on his face. It's that whole performance. Ain't nobody drinking tea from whiskey bottles except for the Clash, baby. It's so good, and I love the Clash. But I mean, come on, David Lee Roth's the man. Love him. And those albums, that 6-pack, what they call the classic 6-pack with Roth of Van Halen. I mean,
Superlative. It's great.
It's peerless. It's
Yeah.
great.
They were rock and roll for a good portion of its history. Heather,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
but that's good music. Please tell us some bad music.
Oh my God. Well, actually, I wish I would have gone first because it's going to be hard to beat HP's. Like, damn. Now, I know when you issued us this idea for His Father Malone, you were like, it has to be with this part of the show, it has to be the song, not the version of it, the song itself. But I can't do that, and I apologize, because when I think of summer songs, I think of ones that just make me die a little inside it, not in a fun way. It's Seals and Crofts, Summer Breeze. And the reason why I'm putting an asterisk is the Typo Negative cover of that I love. Peter Steele's voice is like autumn to me. It's like a warm apple cider drink. I just feel all warm inside, and I love it, and it's just so heavy. He's an alchemist.
Her golden hair moving as the wind blows, full moon on a Friday night.
Seals and Croft, it's so nutless. I feel like I'm at the natural food store and I've been farted on by a hippie while I'm trying to get nutritional yeast. Like, which is delicious on popcorn, by the way.
Here's the thing, like, I grew up with that song, hearing it on the radio, so I'm not going to direct as much animosity towards it, but I can definitely see your point. It is a very lightweight song. It stinks of patchouli, and like, just, it doesn't have any balls.
Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
You want to come to a drum circle? No women allowed. I literally dated a guy where it was like I was told I wasn't allowed to go to the drum circle because I was a woman. It's like, this is for male bonding.
Seals and Croft would have invited you to that drum circle.
Absolutely.
I'm going to now defend this song. I love that song.
I would rather go to Typo Negative's drum circle.
Hey, listen, I'm sure that I have not heard the Typo Negative.
It's beautiful.
I'm now definitely going to listen.
I'll defend that version of the song. I'll defend that version.
And everything you said about the song is completely accurate, but I don't think it's a song that in any way wanted balls. Maybe Typo Negative provided them, but Seals and Croft, they didn't need balls. This song is not about that. This is a song about blowing through the jasmine of your mind.
It's gentle. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you.
It makes me feel fine.
I don't feel fine. I don't feel fine. I feel agitated. I feel it's too much. It's too much. It's like a weak cup of chamomile tea for me.
That's totally accurate as well.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't. I'm a woman with needs. I need a strong cup of chamomile tea.
So I have heard the Typo Negative cover of it. And I got excited because I grew up with the song. I love the song, and I'm always interested to hear a cool cover of a song. But I don't know. I just felt it was kind of trying a little too hard to be different. And kind of edgy. But I think at the time, what I failed to realize is I think Typo Negative is more tongue in cheek than I gave them credit for at the time. I mean, this was college when I heard this, probably, so I was not exactly looking for a wry sense of humor, a band or a song. So maybe I'll go back and revisit it. But yeah, no, it's a good call.
Well, and especially because Peter Steele, I saw an interview where he talked about he heard that song a lot growing up as a kid in the 70s, and like his sisters in particular. Like this comes from this big family of women, and his sisters would play that all the time. And so, I mean, Typo Negative definitely had a sense of humor. Peter Steele had a great sense of humor, but there is kind of like a genuine love, I think, for it. But I just, Seals and Croft to me, it's just the music in general. It's so bloodless. It does nothing for me. I don't mind mellow. There's plenty.
You don't have to defend your own point of view here. Fuck up.
No. I'm just trying to explain myself. I don't mind mellow, but I need something to have a pulse in it. For me to connect, I need a pulse. I need organs. I need blood. I probably sound like a cannibal again. Maybe I'm just hungry for human flesh.
Burnt skin.
Seals and Croft.
Yeah,
delicious.
Yeah. Gross. No, that meat would be so rangy.
Gamey.
It'd be so nasty. It'd be hairy, like this hairy man leg. I say next.
All right. I'm dying to hear your choice, Father Malone. What's your choice for the worst song about summer?
Kid Rock. Robert Ritchie to ashamed family members. He's neither kid nor does he rock, and yet here we are. We're talking about the abomination that is All Summer Long from 2008.
Oh.
Oof.
Okay, but before we dive in, I am going to read some lyrics. They're genius, you know. It was 1989. My thoughts were short. My hair was long, caught somewhere between a boy and a man. She was 17, and she was far from in between. It was summertime in northern Michigan. Flashing through the sandbar, talking by the campfire. It's the simple things in life, like when and where. We didn't have internet, but man, I'll never forget the way the moonlight shined upon her hair. Okay. He's describing himself in 1989. Here's a song he recorded in 1989.
On the mic going solo, cause I'm the kid with all the dope lingo. Only rapping cause I don't sing though. Create a jam that's fresh in your bingo. Lace up the Reeboks, go on the high top. Black coats and with a little hip hop. Then I style it with some uniqueness. You say I'm not fresh, but
You're not a fucking redneck, first of all. You weren't a hip-hop person either. You're just some spoiled rich white kid from the fucking suburbs like all of us. Anyway, okay, I'm putting Kid Rock aside for a second. So what did he do here? It's a mashup. People say it's 2 songs. It's not. It's a dozen. It's mainly Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon and Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd.
singing Sweet Home Alabama all summer long. Catching walleye from the dock, watching the waves roll off the rocks.
But there's some night moves in there from Bob Seger.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Points all around.
In fact, if you listen to the beginning of the song, the drum fill that leads us into this complete gross rape of other better songs is the drum fill from the opening of Smells Like Teen Spirit. It just goes on and on.
Good Lord.
Here's what Kid Rock had to say about this. Even though a lot of critics go, oh, he just ripped off a song or whatever, I actually thought it was very creative. He's saying of his own work. I was doing something that had never been done because even though mashups have been done, nobody's ever taken 2 songs, mashed them up, and written an original lyric and melody over the top of it. So we did it and it seemed to work out pretty well.
He can fuck off sky high. Like,
You mentioned Forrest Gump at the beginning. Kid Rock is like the Forrest Gump of all. Actually, no. Let me put it another way. All the criticisms about the movie Forrest Gump, right? The right wing kind of slant and the anti left wing bent, like all of those. That's Kid Rock. Like that's him personified. And he just keeps popping up in all these genres that he has no business being in. And he hangs out in a minute and waves. And then he's like on to the next approximation of what he calls music. By the way, if you want a really good takedown of this song, there's a YouTube channel called What Makes This Song Stink, which I encourage everyone to listen to. He gets into the nuts and bolts. So like he's a guitarist and he's breaking down why it's terrible musically. And he can explain it much more eloquently than I can. What makes me craziest about this song is that every time it would come on, and it came on a lot when it was first released, was that I thought it was the opening of a better song, part one of the 2 songs he had ripped off. And then it was just like a bait and switch and a slap in the face. And then you get the most puerile lyrics of all time. We were trying funny things. Let me rhyme that.
Ew.
We were smoking funny things. Oh, what? He's just so good. Here's another lyric from Kid Rock, by the way. I know he's low hanging fruit, and I'm not saying anything that hadn't been said about this guy before, but here's a reminder. He has a song off of that first album called New York's Not My Home, where he describes his experience in New York City. In the village, just illin' with a 40 and a brown bag. This is redneck Kid Rock talking once again, everybody. He's in the village, illin' with a 40 and a brown bag.
I'm seeing freaks and also fags. I see a set of nice legs within my sight, but it's a fucking transvestite walking in the daylight. Now I'm tripping and I'm like blown, but I take another sip and say to each his own.
Oh, what a nice guy for not like committing a hate crime. What does he want? A fucking cookie? Fuck him. This guy butt chugs his own ego, and I have no patience for it. And I think you nailed it when you said rape, because I literally remember the first time I heard this song, because it's like you never forget the first time you've ever seen like a gruesome crime photo in your life. That's how I felt with the song, because I was at my day job at a shoot and a flea teak playing the country station, and I was like, my first thought was like, because I wasn't paying all the attention, I'm like, wait, is that Warren Zevon? And then all of a sudden I hear something else. I'm like, oh, no. I mean, when you're making me feel bad for Bob Seger, you know what kind of moral place that puts me in? It's not a good one.
Bob Seger wrote that song, though, right? As much as we don't like that song, or what is this man doing? By the way, mashups hadn't been done like that before. Are you kidding?
That's bullshit. That is bullshit. To quote the president from Return of Captain Invincible, R.I.P. Alan Arkin. Just throwing it out there because I love him, and that's a great musical. Yeah, no, it's the fucking cojones on this motherfucker. He's like the Trump of people, because he's like
his good friend Donald Trump. Yeah,
exactly, because he's not working class. He has no ties to the working class, but he will go for every fucking trope to lie to people. That's the thing. A lot of people that are rednecks are basically working class people that have been screwed their whole life, but they've never been given the intellectual curiosity or good schooling or whatever to question authority. And so they're just continually manipulated. This is what this guy is. It's reprehensible in so many levels. And I hope to God he gets haunted Amityville style by Warren Zevon and 3/4 of Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, this song is the flip side of my other choice. This is the anti-working class song. This is Kid Rock is just like parroting all these things for these. We brought up Jimmy Buffett. He's like trying to be that now for the younger generation. Does he have a bar? I'm sure he does.
When I think of Kid Rock, I think of how cravenly he chases whatever musical trend will make him money and make him popular. Because as you said, he started out as a would-be rapper, did that for a while. And then when he saw that the winds were shifting, he became more of, in this case, like styled himself a bit of a Bob Seger, Heartland type of guy. And then the winds shift again and he became even more like a country type guy. Kid Rock is, reprehensible is the word that I would use. And for anyone who says that mashups and what he did was not done, this is not exactly a good analogy, but I'm put in the mind of the song, I think it was called Come With Me by Puff Daddy off of the Godzilla soundtrack, where he basically just took the song Kashmir by Led Zeppelin and just kind of rapped over it.
But you know who did that better? Schoolie D did a wholly original rap sampling Kashmir and then got sued by Led Zeppelin. And it's actually because it was used in Bad Lieutenant, like to great effect. And they got sued by the band and they had to remove it, which is bullshit. See, now I'm mad. I'm mad all over again.
Well, but ultimately, like the thing is, it sucks. There's no question. But I will say, on the flip side of things, like this doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it acceptable artistically or otherwise. But let's also not forget that I'm sure that Bob Seger and Warren Zevon or his estate, I'm sure they were paid handsomely for using those samples. So it's not as if it's a crime. He didn't steal it. I'm sure he got permission, but
no, we are talking about Summertime, right? So you want to hear a Summertime Silver Lining on this particular song? Kid Rock did not allow any of his music to be put on iTunes. But the charts at the time had become both sales and downloads. So there's a karaoke version of the song that charted higher than Kid Rock's actual song. His song got to 29 on the chart in the top 40, but the Hitmasters karaoke version made it to 19.
Do we want to go to some love?
Yeah, let's get some love going now. Now, the first song's very specifically about the summertime season, but this time we're going to change it up a little bit. Summer jams could be found in this category, but really any song at all. These are songs that your favorite songs that you associate with summer. Now, as I said, this isn't really, I don't think, any of our seasons. I loved it when I was a child because it was freedom and no school. And I love summer until responsibility showed up, and it showed up pretty quick. So I've never been a fan of it. I've always been an autumn person. But there's got to be some good memories. HP, take us to one.
And you raise a very good point. I want to make this clear. Like, this sort of summertime being this incredible experience, something to be savored and look forward to. I think you're right, Father Malone. I think it's something really more unique to, or more endemic to when you're a kid, right? Because when you're old and you're an adult and you're working, the summertime is just another season that you're working. You're still going into the office or going into wherever it is you're going to work. So for me, everything I talk about, whether it's good or bad memories, they all are taking place in or around school age. In this case, in high school, this is a high school memory for me. And the song it's not about summer, but it puts me in the mind of summer. And the song is called The Song Remains the Same, of course, by Led Zeppelin. It's off of Houses of the Holy.
Sing along. Oh, don't know what you're missing at. Every little song that you know. Everything that's mine has
Every song any song off that album would probably qualify as a favorite summertime memory. That's not about summer necessarily, but this particular album, I think I've mentioned on previous occasions that I fell hard for Led Zeppelin, as most kids in my demographic did, probably in or around high school. And I dove into this album probably the summer of either freshman or sophomore year of high school. I'm not sure which, but I do remember it had to be before I got my license, because I always listened to it in the car on my Walkman on cassettes, which I guess you don't see too much anymore. Although I think they're making a comeback, but that's another story. But this song, to me, I hear it like that. There's something about the long intro with the sort of cascading 12-string electric guitars that, of course, Jimmy Page was known for. And the propulsion in that intro, it just made me feel like, school's over for a few months now. We have summertime, and it's just the whole summer's yawning before me. I won't have to go back to school for months. I can just savor the moment and savor the season. And there's just a brightness and a lightness and a happiness around the song. And the way it slows down for the first verse, and then it just springboards itself back into high gear. And the song kind of builds and builds from there. And it's really almost orchestral in the way that it's produced, with all the overdubbing, multi-tracking of all the instruments. And I hear that, and if there was an audio equivalent of the sort of magic hour in the summertime, that sort of hazy golden look that everything took on at a certain time of day just before dusk, this song to me is that in audio form. I love it. It's still, even now, even though I'm many years away from being in school and looking forward to quote unquote summer vacation, this song still puts me in the mindset of that. And it's a very special song to me.
HP, you and I are of similar vintage. We went to high school together, as a matter of fact. But remember, now we've been alive long enough that Led Zeppelin were still a band while we walked the planet, or crawled it in. Mm-hmm. And I always got the sense, when I became aware of the band, that the people who had been listening to it, older people, it always felt like, oh, you just missed it. they seemed like a contemporary band when we were kids. Now they seem like the oldest fossils in the world, but there was a time in our youth where they seemed like, they could have just done it, man. If only they had held on for a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, obvious. They could have. I think they did the right thing in calling it quits, because I honestly, like, depending on who you talk to, some people believe John Bonham was really the best member of that band, the best musician in the group. I'm not going to here to debate that, but you're right. When we were kids, it wasn't as if that we were 40 years removed from Led Zeppelin's heyday. They weren't that old. So yeah, it was.
They weren't even the Beatles. Like the Beatles were like ancient history when we were kids.
But, yeah.
Which is funny because they weren't at all. But
No.
Zeppelin seemed like we could have, if we had more irresponsible parents, been taken to a Zeppelin concert.
Yeah. Sometimes the local TV station, Channel 56, would show The Song Remains the Same as the movie of the week or whatever. And they would always do...
Simulcast it.
They would do a stereo simulcast on WBCN. Now, for those of you younger than us listening to this podcast, stereo TV wasn't a thing when Father Malone and I were in high school. So you had to turn on the TV, turn the volume down, turn on your hi-fi stereo.
That was broadcasting a radio station.
It was a simulcast of the audio of, and it was a revelation for somebody like myself or Father Malone, who we wanted that theatrical experience in the house, in the home, if you will. And The Song Remains the Same was one of those sort of touch point. I think they used to do that with 2001: A Space Odyssey also. Like, this was an experience for your home. And there was something mysterious, interesting, and maybe a little bit forbidden about Led Zeppelin in that movie, because, I mean, there's a lot of wacky stuff going on in The Song Remains the Same. Not coincidentally.
He's a tomorrow. Gotta love John Paul.
The song,
best actor.
The song, he's fantastic. And as it turns out, he's the member with the most staying power, because he's performed with a bunch of. I've seen him performing with everyone from Lenny Kravitz to them Crooked Vultures. Really, kind of kept himself current and de rigueur.
You know who was a big fan of John Paul Jones? Prince.
Yeah,
I love Prince.
Talked about him a lot.
But I'm dying to hear Heather.
So my pick, which, by the way, I think HP, your description of that Led Zeppelin song is one of the best I've ever heard. That was some really beautiful description. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent work. But my pick is a song called Yellow Pills by a band out of Hollywood called 2020. The song came out in 1979. I first heard it off of Rhino Records' excellent compilation DIY. I think it was on was it Come Out and Play or Shake Some Action? It was one of those two. I have both of them on cassette because that's how old they are.
Turning into an oldies program.
Yes. I've got the farm report coming later if anybody wants to stick around. No, I too would listen on my headphones. And this song in particular, it captures to me like the excitement that one can have of the summertime. This also like slightly, not quite hedonistic, but almost like dreamy obliviousness of just that you probably would kind of seek out especially if you're kind of bored and you're needing to kind of escape.
Take a look around on my street. Everybody's got their new wheels, but there's no good jam on the freeway. And they're glad they got the yellow pills.
Yeah, I believe the yellow pills in question are, I think it's a reference to Speed. I could be wrong.
I hope so.
Yeah. But it's also, there's like a wistfulness though, lyrically, that really appeals to me. Because honestly, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know, when I think of the summers, I think of just being very lonely and constantly looking up at the sky and just being like, God, there's a whole world out there. And I'm stuck here. I'm like this little ant stuck on this tiny little hill, and just this absolute need for expansion and excitement and just something kinetic and dreamy. And music, of course, is like one of the greatest connectors. And this song, I think, kind of captures that feeling. I mean, one can escape. Obviously, my escape is more through art. and here it's kind of more through pills. But
We've all got our
Oblivion-
methods.
Yeah, no, it's a no judgment zone here. But yeah, I just think it's just a really perfect song, perfect pop song. And because pop should always, sometimes the best pop is the pop that's a little tinged with something else. It doesn't have to be all glitter. There can be a little bit of gravel underneath the glimmer.
Your head up by the phone lines. You can see the world if you want to. Give it a try. Open your eyes when you breathe.
And I also want to say a little trivia. It's produced by Earl Mankey, who, in addition to being an OG member of Sparks, which is, that alone is pretty fucking cool.
Can't really get cooler, right?
Right?
No, not at
Oh
all.
my God, I love Sparks. Any number of Sparks songs really could have been on this list for me.
Uh-huh.
But he also, he'd go on to produce, he produced this song. He produced The Runaways, The 3 O'Clock, which is a really great kind of Paisley pop band out of California in the 80s. Really another underrated band. Concrete Blonde, which his brother James was their guitarist. So cool guy. And this is a cool song. I love it. And it makes me think of summer. Dreamy, little sad, a little oblivious, but always interesting.
I woke up one summer thinking I was going to fuck off like the rest of my summers, and suddenly I was at a computer class every day, and then Spanish classes that my mother had signed me up for. So summers ended pretty quickly for me. But that doesn't mean there wasn't things to enjoy about it. Now, around 1990, May of 1990, a little movie by Oliver Stone came out called The Doors. And The Doors was pretty much on my radar, on my stereo, in my car cassette deck for that entire summer. And the one song that makes me think of, actually there's a ton of Doors songs. The LA Woman could be what I'm talking about right now. But the song is from 1970s Morrison Hotel, and that is Peace Frog.
Blood in the streets in the town of New Haven. Blood stains the roofs and the palm trees of Venice. Blood in my love in the terrible summer. Bloody red sun of fantastic LA.
It definitely reminds me of my late wife. We listened to that song, I don't know, 1 billion times in Boston, and then later on in California, which is a whole other experience listening to that song once you get to California. Obviously, look, Krieger wrote the music, and the music is fucking fantastic. It's funky and different than their other stuff. Meanwhile, being just like goddamn ferocious. And look, Morrison just dropped in some old poems as lyrics, but what evocative imagery. It's from his 3 different poems: Abortion Stories, Dawn's Highway, and Newborn Awakening. And this is the song where the stupid myth of him having an Indian jump into him because he witnessed as a child a car wreck with a Native American family.
Indians scattered on Dawn's highway bleeding. Ghosts crown the young child's fragile eggshell mind.
That line is in here, but goddamn, it's evocative, just like the rest of it. All of the blood imagery and tying in all of the sort of horrible events going on at the end of the 60s. And somehow it seems fun. That's rare.
I actually have you to thank, Father Malone, for getting me into this song.
Oh.
Because honestly, I love The Doors. I've never actually taken the time to really listen to Morrison Hotel for some reason. Waiting for the Sun was always like the big one. And also, side note, I wanted to form a band called Ray Manzarek's Oregon. And I tried pitching that to my friend Shannon. And I was even like, we're going to do like a Sticky Fingers type cover, but it's like his striped pants from anyways, she said no. So that band never happened. But this song is so beautiful. And like, I feel really grateful I got to hear it because of you. So thank you.
Oh, that's entirely my pleasure. I want to share it with everybody. Go ahead, HB.
Yeah, so we've talked about our shared upbringings, Father Malone. I was right there with you, seeing The Doors in the theater. There was a level of obsession that we both had for The Doors that summer. I know we freaked out. The movie was like everything to us, and we dove hard into their catalog. Now, the funny thing is that The Doors, that there's any number of songs that just have the word summer, as it turns out. There's Summer's Almost Gone. There's Indian Summer, which is also off of Morrison Hotel. But This is a fantastic pick. It's been always been one of my favorite Doors songs also. It's so, like you said, it's a bit of an outlier because the instrumentation in the song itself is so out of character, let's say, and the blend of Krieger's funky guitar and everything else with Morrison's patented brand of poetry is just, to me, it's magic. And I think it's a wonderful pick. And it actually brought me back to summertime a little bit listening to it again. So thank you for that.
Oh, no. Thank everybody for everything. HP, I'm now going to kick it back to you because there has to be a song that you associate with summer that you cannot stand. How's that for some alliteration?
That's a
Come on,
wonderful segue. A segue, man. So this one's a kind of a weird one. I'm going to just warn you in advance. This is going to require a bit of explanation. My least favorite song that makes me think of summer is a song called Pearl of the Quarter by Steely Dan.
On the water down in New Orleans, my baby's a pearl of the quarter. She's a charmer like you never seen, singing voulez-vous.
It's off of Countdown to Ecstasy from 1973. I'm unabashedly a huge Steely Dan fan, and I've always been, even going back to high school, big Steely Dan fan. Most of their songs are usually about weirdos on the periphery. This one is basically a love song, which is not really a good look for two glum, sarcastic dudes who met at Bard College in the 60s. The pedal steel in the song is played by Skunk Baxter, who was at one time a member of Steely Dan. And this might, Father Malone knows I have a strong aversion to the pedal steel. And I think this song
do.
This song might have been the genesis of that because
Man, oh
it's
man,
so cloying.
He and I went back and forth for a long time about this instrument.
It's in the song, it's cloying and sentimental. The song is basically about a guy who's loved and lost a woman from Louisiana, hence the French Quarter. And I've always considered this song, even before the memory part, which I'll get to in a moment. This is really the turd in the punch bowl of maybe their entire catalog. So already I was biased against the song, but with the song, the reason why it makes me think of summer and why it's such a bummer, for some reason, it always takes me back to my first summer back home after graduating from college. This was a point in my life where I was aimless, to be honest. I had no solid plan of what to do next. I was bummed to have to move back home with my parents, my old house, after having 4 years of independence school. It's certainly not a unique story. I'm sure everybody has gone through it in some way, shape, or form. But for some reason, I think just because I was listening to a lot of, I was in my car a lot because I just wanted to get out of the house a lot. And this was in rotation at that time. And it just makes me feel just this bummed out feeling of, oh, now what do I do? What's next in life? I didn't really do what I wanted to do with school, and my degree is basically worthless. What now? That's my pick. It's and like I said, to top it off, it's not even a very good song. So yeah, I can't listen to it without thinking of it taking me back to that feeling of hopelessness after college.
Boy, that's a bummer for summer.
It is. Like
Heather, take us further.
I don't think I can. I'm bummed now. Oh my god. I feel like I want to give you a hug, HP. Go back in time and give I'm sorry, man.
Could have used a hug back then for sure.
And
Steely Dan makes me feel like that anyway, by the way.
Oh, okay, that's another story.
But okay, so here's my thing. I don't have a exact memory associated with this song as far as like a bad summer, because to me, like my worst summer memories are just like this big expanse of just like sludge, just slow. Yeah. But this song makes
the dog days of summer.
Exactly. But I love dogs. It should be associated with the worst animal.
Yeah.
The hookworm days of summer. This song makes me think of summer, and it also makes me cringe. So this was my pick. And that is Moonlight Feels Right by the band Starbuck.
I'll take you on a trip beside the ocean dropped atop of Chesapeake Bay. Ain't nothing like the scattered dose of potion. The moon will send you on your way. Moonlight feels right.
Have you ever been stuck? Have you ever been stuck in like a fluorescently lit space and hearing the most god awful, obnoxious music? But it's not like when people think obnoxious, they think of like a like industrial sound or something cool.
Kid
like
Rock.
No, this song makes me think of somebody taking something that should be right, because I have this setting in my mind of, okay, it's nighttime, it's summertime. That's nice, right? Maybe you're by a lake, the lights reflecting off the pool. And now it is like that Kid Rock song. God damn it. Oh, I blame Starbucks. They planted the seeds for this bullshit.
Hey, you can still do all those things and not
exactly.
have the
Exactly.
stink
See,
of the rock.
exactly. Thank you. But or the book, because here's the deal. It's like you're almost having a good time, and then this creepy guy with a shitty mustache starts
I mean,
like
all your stories
like,
involve guys with creepy mustache.
Mustaches, yeah.
with bad mustaches. I have full respect for a good stash, okay? But a guy with a good firm stash is not gonna be going moonlight. And that's saying it's like some fucking Holiday Inn lounge synth, like like that.
I'm cutting the whole song in here.
Oh god, I think you should just cut me going like that.
Oh, that's going in there too. Yeah.
Wait, okay, good. We got it's my mashup. Take that. Suck on that, Kid Rock. But this guy just goes moonlight like that. He's saying it like that, like, oh, it's so mealy mouthed. This is like Rohypnol in a song. It just feels like trigger warning. Sorry, whatever. But it
feels wrong.
It feels wrong. It doesn't feel right. It feels like some guy has just Swiffered his nasty Dracar Noir taint all over your nice evening. Like, you're just trying to have a good time. You're by the lake, and here's this guy skeezing it up, being like, hey, baby. Or maybe it could be a gross woman. I'm not going to be gender biased. Could be some nasty. Maybe she likes that body fantasy spray that Walmart has that smells kind of like an ex-stripper. That's actually not a bad smell, though, depending on the stripper. But anyways.
Depends on the stripper.
Depends on the stripper. Some strippers smell
and
good.
whether or not they've been working all night.
That's true. If you got that day shift shrimp, that's a different smell. Like, it depends, Some strippers smell good. This is a fact. But my thing is, if a stripper is Starbuck and Starbuck is a stripper, that stripper ain't gonna smell good. It's gonna smell like wine coolers, like spilled wine coolers.
Artles and James.
Yeah, like something called like Mango Delight. It's gonna smell like Mango Delight and Dracar Noir and bug spray. And bad weed, like skunk weed, not good weed. It's gonna smell like Jeff Skunk Baxter weed. It is the sex machine himself who went on to like be a part of George Bush's administration, which is that exactly evil.
It's a crazy story. It is. It's bizarre.
It's nuts. And his stash is terrible. But I don't like his stash. I don't like the Jeff's cut. But no, Starbucks' mustache. Now, I'm not talking about the actual members of Starbucks, but I'm saying, like, when you think of Starbucks, you think of a guy with that wispy, shitty mustache. Kind of like Snoopy's cousin.
With just the little hairs.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like, hey, baby, and I don't like it. It makes me feel bad. It makes me, just hearing that song, it makes me feel unclean, and not in a fun way, not in a David Lee Roth like Dionysian way. It makes me feel unclean, like I have been hit on by my friend's older brother, and I'm 12 and he's 26.
Jesus Christ, it's that bad.
Yes.
Now, first of all, full disclosure, I wore Dracar Noir in high school, and in high school,
so did my first boyfriend. It's okay.
We all wore it, I guess. Speaking of high school, that's where my hatred for this song comes from. Now, this one could have actually been in our last category because it is a song about summer. And it is a song that every fucking DJ would put on a high loop right around mid-August. It's Cruel Summer by Panorama. Leaving me here on my own.
City's
It was just a reminder, hey, suckers, in a couple of weeks, maybe not even that long, you're going to be back in school. So it's by the way, I like this song. I think it's a great song. I could listen to it right now. Nevertheless, the association, the stink of it, you're about to give up any meager amount of freedom you've managed to grab from this misbegotten season where once you had a great time, it's all coming to an end and you're going back to school. I don't really have any more deep analysis other than that. But when I thought of this, that it just immediately popped into my head, that memory, because it was an annual event starting in 86, 85, that song came out. So we're talking from 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, like enough. We know the summer's ending. We can look at a calendar, for fuck's sake. Don't taunt us with the sound of these ladies.
I see it. I always, when I think of that song, talk about a bummer, you know what I think of? I think of poor Daniel LaRusso getting kicked off the soccer team. He was roped into retaliating during a scrimmage. And I remember him walking dejectedly off the field.
I actually think that's a fond memory.
Is this somebody you guys
getting
knew?
kicked off the soccer team?
No, he's talking about the Karate Kid.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I've never... that style of pop was never really my thing anyway to begin with. It wasn't my
Don't beat up on the song.
At the time.
I'm not inviting you to criticize the tune.
No. So it's not as if that song would hold any fond memories for me to begin with. It's not something that puts me in the mind of any kind of good memory, frankly.
Wah.
Heather,
Wah.
are you a banana fana?
Oh, that's so bad.
I wasn't until you
joke.
made that pun. I have no problem with Bananarama. I like them. I actually kind of prefer. Which one? The one that formed Shakespeare's sister.
We know the one. I could never name her.
I can't name her either. But she formed it with Marcella Detroit, who I love, and she's on Alice Cooper's From the Inside.
I want my last name to be Detroit.
Isn't that a great name? I don't think
Dr. Detroit.
Oh God!
You could become a doctor. Call the doctor.
Ooh,
That's a good song.
Yeah, maybe. I'll take that name.
No, I don't have a problem with Bananarama. What's weird though is the music video, and which is burned into my memory because they played it all the time when I was little, has almost like a sort of like a Smokey and the Bandit feel. Towards the end, where like this Boss Hogg looking guy is, those girls, and the girls are throwing banana peels with this nice trucker. It's weird. I don't think it fits the song.
They said they're going for something other than literal lyrics, right?
Right. No. They went creative, and I like Bananarama. They're very stylish, beautiful ladies. Yeah, I would say it's like my favorite. I don't own any Bananarama, but yeah, they're fine. Nope, I have nothing problem. And honestly, I do like Ralph Macchio. I don't really think I'm hating on the Macchio. I just think the Karate Kid never did it for me, and I'm dark. This was my. I think Zabka's William Zabka's got the manpower debut. Like he's one of those guys. It's like James Spader in the '80s. Like these guys played the assholes, but they were like so awesome and fantastic. They were like stylish assholes. Like you almost want to be like fuck that guy, but then you're like, but I kind of like him. In the case of James Spader, it's like you want to have hate sex with that one, but which ties into my version of Pretty in Pink, but I'll save that for another episode.
He's the hero of Pretty in Pink.
He's so hot. Oh my God.
He should. Those two should have ended up together. He was clearly he's clearly in love with her.
Well, see, my version of Pretty in Pink is she calls the police on Ducky and gets a restraining order on him. She breaks up with Blaine, has hot, like total like rage sex with Spader, and then blows up the school like Massacre at Central High style. And then as Pretty in Pink, the song plays, it freeze frames on her giving the middle finger to the school.
When you were a kid, how did Cat in the Hat end for you?
That's fine. I mean, I was I had a pretty mind as a little kid.
Okay. It was once you got a little older. Gotcha.
Well, I say that though. My mom reminded me that she never bought me. She only bought me one Barbie because the one Barbie I had, she found its head.
Yeah. Going deeper and deeper and darker down the rabbit hole.
I can't help it. I gotta be me. I got a loving heart though.
I'm not criticizing you at all. You're the dark beating heart of the Noise Junkie crew. Noise Junkies. Oh, this is a perfect little segue, isn't it, everybody? I'm gonna wrap it up, I guess. I was supposed to have a game here, but I'm incredibly lazy. Your Father Malone is, and so instead, I'm gonna ask HP. Are you working on anything? Would you like to tell people to listen to or see those things?
I would love to. So I, along with my colleague, Father Malone, we do the Night Mr. Walters a Taxi podcast, new episodes every couple of weeks.
Every other Tuesday, every couple of weeks. Every other Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we have also done a little bit of Wolf and Raisin, which is a Banachek podcast.
Hell yeah.
You can also, thank you. You can also hear me on occasion on the Culture Cast once in a while. And also, I'm very proud to have been involved with Father Malone's Dark Destinations audio drama podcast, doing some music and a few other things. So check that out as well.
How about you, Heather?
Oh goodness, I love how productive. Can I just say I love this show, and I love having you two as like my sonic brothers in arms. So cool. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
My God.
Thank you.
Oh, well, one thing an episode I recorded with Chris Stashew, who we all love, for Bollywood Cinema Club. The first episode I recorded with Chris for the movie Dangal is out, so you guys can check that out on Weirding Way Media. Also, if you go over to Vinegar Syndrome, they have released a very excellent documentary made by Charlotte Gainsbourg about her mother, who of course is the famous Jane Birkin. The movie called Jane by Charlotte, and your girl wrote a little essay for that release. So please check that out.
Yay.
And
Awesome. Congratulations.
well, thank you. And it's a very fascinating documentary, and I think definitely for anybody that's big music heads like we are. I mean, of course, Jane Birkin, Serge Gainsbourg. It's a great, very interesting documentary. So I do recommend it, even if I didn't do the essay for it, but I did. So check that out. Also, hopefully by the time this goes on air, because this should go up on their website any day now, I did an article about Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast, the classic, the godfather of gore himself. And speaking of cannibalism, La Ronde, ladies and gentlemen, and that'll be over on Arrow Films website. Of course, for anything else, go to I have a link tree. Holla. So just go to linktree.com/Mondo Heather.
And as for me, everything that HP mentioned, and if you want to hear any of my audio stuff I do, it's weirdingwaymedia.com. If you want to see any of the visual stuff or my old link tree, fathermalone.com will get you to all my nonsense. We want to thank you all for joining us here at Noise Junkies. Enjoy your summer, ladies and gentlemen.